That old man got the tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
All right. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Hi.
We've got a special update today. A little bit early for the U.S., but late for Rob out there over in England. Hey, Rob. How's it going?
Good. Oh, good.
Oh.
I'm staying up. I'm managing to stay up.
Yeah, don't make us tired, man.
It's 11 p.m., so rock and roll.
Yeah. And
It's only 3 here. It's 3 in the afternoon,
I know,
Rob.
right?
I don't know what the problem is.
This is prime delivery time for me right now. So
Yeah.
you may be hearing my dogs going crazy on and off here as the packages start arriving.
All the damaged collectibles rolling in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here they come.
Don't make me laugh too hard. My belly is still a bit sore.
How'd that go, Steve? All good?
Yeah, pretty good. You know, I'm still pretty sore, but getting better. And my belly button looks like hamburger meat right now. So
disgusting.
That's tummy sticks going out of hand right there.
I'd love to see that. That's like tummy sticks with laser swords.
Yeah,
tummy sticks going wrong.
Freaking.
I didn't expect them to, but they actually did the incision right across the bottom of the belly button. So that's good. That was really weird.
So does it look like a smile underneath your belly button?
Just a real
like a Joker smile.
Yeah, kind of along those lines. And it's all glued up. It's all filled with glue.
They glued it.
Little Zapagat. Yeah,
like crazy glue. Crazy.
Let me tell you, 25 years ago, I had an appendectomy, and they didn't use glue. I had a bandage and the whole deal, and it got infected, and it was miserable. This, no bandage, no nothing. They just glued it up, and you just wait until it comes off. So this has been quite a difference, but still painful.
We've come a long way from going across the country in wagon and getting dysentery to now they just glue you up and you're good to go.
I could say I had surgery last century, basically.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. But good to be back on the show with everybody. I watched the group therapy from this weekend.
Yeah.
Boy, I took a beating. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Steve, we did a decent job, right? It was okay.
Oh, you do a fantastic job every time. So I think that you should take over.
Yeah, right. No way. No, it was fun. It was a bummer. I wanted to stay on longer. We just couldn't do it. Like it just kind of wasn't the weekend. So
that's fine. We get to save a little bit for this Friday.
Yeah.
For group therapy. It's too bad Rob couldn't be on, but Rob's here tonight.
I was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Rob hit me up and said he had been drinking too much, and I was like, that makes sense. That's okay. That's okay.
That would be perfect,
Two words. Cocktails.
Polly's cock, and then the tails they were chasing.
Well, it was a dirty weekend with Paulie in the middle of the countryside. So
that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah. So in case anybody can figure it out from the title and all that, Rob's on here today to give another update on the Snowtrooper concept maquette helmet maquette. Boy, it's a mouthful every time I have to say it. But basically what it is you got your hands on a copy, on the actual original sculpt, and you've made a replica of that, maquette replica of the helmet, right? And so it's not going to be a wearable helmet, but it's a maquette. It's solid on the inside.
Yeah. So it was a mold that was taken from the from the sculpture.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah. So let's see. CC says he was doing questionable things in Wales. Like I haven't heard that before. Yeah.
Wales, the country, not Moby Dick. Kind of.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for clarifying there. And Sean's enjoying watching. Thanks for putting on the ESB in the background. I'm sure that's much more interesting to people than actually watching us.
Honestly,
gross.
honestly-
He's kissing his sister.
Honestly,
God.
Steve, we should probably do that in every stream so that people have something better to do.
Yeah, probably.
Until we get the copyright strike.
Yeah, exactly. Not that it matters, right? Who gives
Yeah.
a shit? It's not like
Yeah.
we're making any money off of this shit.
Yeah. So anyway, Rob, what you got an update for us? This is our second update today. What do you got in store for everybody today?
So the second one. Okay. So
Well, we did the announcement, and then this is the second update.
Okay.
The last
so
one was the pour. Go ahead.
We went to meet some people connected with the sculpt. We've been doing a lot of research into the sculpt to see what we can find out, and I'd say not completely contrary to how the history books tell
Can I
it.
interrupt you? Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Does somebody have a cat or a vibrator or something in the area? Because I keep hearing
Steve, I think it's your stomach.
like a. It's not my stomach. I keep
Okay.
hearing a purring. I keep hearing like a purring, a vibration.
Can you hear that? That's my dog snoring.
Is it really?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's totally fine. I'm cool with that. He's just
You can't
going
really
for
see
it, huh?
him. Yeah, he's asleep.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, good
Okay,
for
I
him.
was
That's okay.
Sorry
Good
to
for him.
interrupt. I just wasn't sure if there was some sort of adult toy in the background or something. So
No.
Either one. Adult toy
It's
or
not
dog
switched
sleeping.
on.
It's totally fine.
It's not switched on.
Yeah, it's not turned on. He's got the dog going. He doesn't have the vibrator going. That's good.
go ahead, Rob. Sorry about that.
So we did a lot of research when we were trying to find out what we could and see who we could locate who was connected with this piece and find out more about it, and just to try and learn more and understand more about the making of it and get closer to the film, which is what this piece represents, really. And that's what all the replicas represent. It takes us back to that time, and it takes us back to something that looks and is as close as you can get. So eventually it was quite a slow process, but eventually we discovered that Brian Muir had worked with a guy who worked on ESB. Brian was asked to work on ESB, but he was stuck on Superman, which is one of his least favorite productions that he ever worked on. So he was on that, and I think they were reaching out and trying to find people. Jan Stevens was on there, and they got in touch with this sculptor that we met, Roy Rogers, quite a famous name, not connected to Cowboys or Ram Ranch in any way. But so through Brian Muir, we had a meeting set up, and I don't know if it was last Saturday. No, the one before, week on Saturday ago, we went down to Brian's house and met with him and talked to him about his work on ESB and his work on the Snowtrooper. And while we were there, he signed a bunch of plaques for us.
A bunch of plaques, yeah.
Awesome.
Which was, that was exciting in itself, because Roy doesn't do the convention scene. He doesn't do signings. It's quite rare for him to ever sign anything at all, whether it's connected to Star Wars or not. I think he's done one previous signing, so it was quite a coup for us to meet him, and we were excited and surprised all at the same time.
Very cool, Rob. Go ahead, Matt.
Can I commend everyone for being consummate professionals right now when there's a dog sleeping loudly in the background? I think everyone's doing a great job. So I just want to say that.
Can you hear that
it's my favorite episode we've ever done, because I freaking love this shit. This is fantastic. So no, please go on. It's great.
The other two have been nice and quiet. But it's just, there's always one.
I love dogs, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, so we got the chance to meet him, and one of the exciting things, we did a video. I think we're going to put a full length one out, but we've got some. I think we're putting a full length one out in a week or so's time.
Okay.
But we've got the meat on the bones. We've got to show tonight so that people can see and learn a little bit about Roy, and the other signature as well, Chris Bunn, who was the life form. He was the body cast that they made to then sculpt the piece on, the one that we see in that famous photograph. So it's been an interesting week or so, meeting these two chaps. I should have sent you the picture. I was out on the town with Chris, actually, because he was the one who started on the Tequila Slammers, if you can believe that. In his 70s, and he's going to the bar getting a round of Tequila Slammers.
Wow. So
Wow.
wait, I don't think you've explained who Chris is yet. Did you mention him yet?
Yeah, so Chris Bunn is the other signature on the plaque, and he was the body form that the whole thing is then sculpted on top of.
Crazy.
So that picture that we've shared in the past, I don't have it at my fingertips.
Yeah, with the underpants.
Yeah, with the underpants.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's really cool. That it's amazing that you could track down Roy, let alone, my gosh, the body sculpt. That's crazy. People actually remembered who they were.
The Chris one came out. We were very limited in what we could find and what we could read, and we couldn't find anything on the body cast. We were meeting Chris for something else. Don't want to spoil that. And it just dropped into conversation.
That's
and we were
crazy.
like, really?
Yeah.
So that got the ball rolling. Then the next minute we found out about Roy. So this has all been, even though this has been going on for months, and we've been trying to find out what we can. It's all coming in literally the last few weeks.
So Rob, he just said that in passing. He was just like, "Oh yeah," like did you tell him you were making the thing? And then he was like, "Yeah, that's me." Or
no. He knew nothing about it at all. He was just telling us the things that he'd done on Star Wars.
That's crazy, dude.
That's 1 in a million. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That was one of the things that he'd done. So we were like, okay, we need to chat more about this.
That's so
This
cool.
is so exciting, guys. I feel like we have our hands on a piece of history here, right? A piece of Star Wars history that nobody's had insight into yet until now, right? So this is for me, this is what collecting is all about. Getting this sort of connection to something that's so iconic, right?
Yeah.
For the show, and yet just learning about who made it. It's so obscure at the same time. So super exciting. And Rob, I want to thank you for the passion that you've put into this, to meet with these guys, to get to know them, to keep pulling on the thread to learn more about it, and to make it so much more interesting to us. We
are the fanboys anyway, so getting an opportunity to meet these people and not just kind of stand there in front of them and pass them something to sign and then say, I loved watching you in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm not very good at that, but if you've got something to talk about and then you're like, let me buy you a drink and let's talk a little bit more about it. So that for us, meeting these guys is like a real red letter day, and since we started the YouTube and being able to share it even more, that's been a real exciting, fun thing. So if we get the opportunity, we jump at it. Yeah, and we got one.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. So do you want me to play the video now, or is it a good time to play the video?
Yeah. If we get that out of the way, and then we can talk a little bit about it as well. And
okay. Do you want to say anything to cue it up, or?
I'm very curious to see your reaction to some of this video, because it was shocking to me to say the
Yeah,
least.
none of us have seen the video
No,
yet.
yeah, we haven't.
No.
seen it.
Literally just
Yep.
got the link.
First time.
I'm going to be using the StreamYard video playback feature. From what I see, it's working pretty well. I don't think we've used that before, so hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. But we'll go ahead and give it a whirl now. Why don't we go ahead and try this?
Man,
Here we go.
I can tell you how I got into it, the film business, because I was teaching at the time in an art school, because I was trained as a painter. I wasn't trained as a sculptor, but I did a lot of sculpture for prop people outside, and I worked in a prop studio. So, and I'd always been quite good at sculpture. It's one of those things, like, you know, you are, if you are, you are. Empire was the first really big movie. I'd never worked on a big production. I'd always worked on TV stuff and stuff like that. Somebody rang me up one day and said, they need a sculptor down at Elstree. They're looking for somebody who can do figurative sculpture. So, and at that time I needed it. I really did need it. And so I rushed to the phone box, because I hadn't got a phone at the time, phoned up, and it turned out to be Norman Reynolds. And he said, "Oh, well, Roy, can you do a figure? Are you good at figuratives?" I said, "Oh, yes, I can do that." And that's all that happened. He said, "Well, you can start on Monday morning. We start at 8:30 or 8 or whatever it was." And so I went along Monday morning, and I hadn't met Norman before, and he turned out to be a really nice guy, and we got on ever so well. But he said to me, "Well, right," he said, and he talked about the medical robot. That was the first thing I did. And he said, "Well, you know," and he got a cigarette packet out. He was scribbling on the back of it. And I thought, is that all it is? You know, I mean, surely there must be more to it than that. But that's how the ideas were sort of generated all the time. And I don't think I ever saw a proper drawing for it. And then he'd come in, I made a start, and he said, "I want the head very skull-like." And he said, you know, the body, and for some reason or other, he wanted that sort of bandagey sort of thing wrapped around it. And anyway, I was there doing it for about, I suppose, a month. And during that time, he used to come in, look at it and say, "Yeah, could you just, you know, or what about that?" But it was always a sort of very cooperative thing, you know. It wasn't say, "Don't do that, or do this." And it gradually developed. And then he sort of came in one day, and he had the microphone, you know, there's 35 microphones with a grill, and he said, "Try that," he said. And he slapped it on the front, and it was brilliant. It just worked absolutely, and it's still there. I mean, that's what we used, and it was a sort of, it was a revelation to me, really, how that was all done. And when I worked much later in the film industry full time, which I wasn't at that time, I'd hardly ever worked without a drawing. It's just people produce drawings for things. The brief was, I was making the medical robot, and the sculptor was Jan Stevens. Jan was there when I got there, and she was quite a favourite, I think, of Norman's anyway, and she'd done quite a lot of big movies, and he'd asked her to do this hand for the what's it, RT-T2, or the golden guy. What's it?
C-3PO.
Yes. And
Star Trek fan.
what happened after the first film, nobody ever thought it was going to be what it became, but so they kept some of the stuff, and we had a big store in Borehamwood where they shuffled it all in, and a lot of it was made just for the film, you know, and somebody thrown this. Anyway, he came in one day into the room to her, and he said, "Jan, I want this," and he had this pile of bits and pieces in his hand, and he said, "It's the hands of this particular robot thing." So I said, "Well," so she said, "Well, okay, fine." He says, "You'll need to get your hand cast, because you model it on, we want it," this was like a glove, but he said, "We want it like modelled on a hand, so that in fact, you know, it can then be cast and made into a piece." And it was all little bumps and lumps and things. And so she said, "All right." So I remember the lunchtime, she said to me, "I'm going downstairs." So the plaster shop was underneath us at the time, and Harry Gomez was the guy down there in charge. And she said, "I've come down to have my hand cast and she told him what it was for, and it was no big deal. I mean, it was something that happened quite often, those sort of things. Can you cast this? Can you cast that? Can you cast my foot? Or whatever. And she didn't come back for ages. In fact, she didn't come back at all until about 5 o'clock. And by that time, her arm was in a sling, and she looked dreadful. And she went home, and what had happened was the guy had cast it into plaster, and she had a wedding ring on, and plaster heats up, as you know, I'm sure, when it's, you know, warming up and curing, and they couldn't get her hand out, and they couldn't get that hand out because the ring was so tight, her hand swelled up. Anyway, they had to break it open, but as a result, she lost her finger.
Oh, jeez.
I think eventually she got gangrene and they had to cut it. So that was a disaster.
Eventually, she got.
She did, yeah. They did. And Norman felt terribly embarrassed about it.
Yeah, no
Did
shit.
she go back to sculpting?
Yes, she
later?
did. Yes, she did. But she lost her wedding ring finger, and she never let him forget it. And Norman came up to me on the second day. He knew she wasn't coming back. He said, and she'd been working on all these little concept models. And he said, Roy, you're going to have to do those. So I said, oh, really? Good. And so he, you know, he came in. It's getting like working on the big one. The first one didn't have a concept model. I don't think they just did it. Well, I did some stuff on the body. I did partly the head, and the body bit when I sculpted it was. I remember again Norman came in and he said, "Have you ever thought of putting something that looks like the front of a lorry on the front? In other words, the radiator, great chunky thing. You know, he didn't want that on there, but he tried to get me to sort of see what he was talking about. And so we did. We tried it. I'm not sure that it stayed there actually, but so there was that, and then just working around this and trying to finish it and make it what it became. The type of helmet that it is like all these here. You know, it's got that sort of look, which I suppose is, you know, it makes us a signature piece, really. You know.
Crazy.
Such a car said the agency sat me down and said, go straight to the modelling shop, walked into the modelling shop, said, oh yes, we're expecting you. You lay down on the desk and lay down at the table because we're going to shape your body.
Question, Rob, is this man speaking English?
Yes.
That's what's happening right
Dags.
now.
I like Dags.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
I said, you're not. I said, what? I said, in those days it was £15 a day flat basic pay for an extra. Yeah. And I said, you give me one good reason why I should let you shave my body. He said, we'll give you 100 reasons. We're going to give you £100 for this. I'll just lay down and shave. I said, shave away.
So back in 1975, that was quite a payday then.
Yeah, great day, payday, yeah.
There we go.
Wow, that's crazy.
Such great interviews. Gangrene,
She
$100 to
lost
shave your
her
body.
finger. That's insane.
So
Well,
That's why-
there's everybody's answer as to why we couldn't figure out
That's why she didn't come back.
what happened with Jan Stevens. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, CC's got it nailed it. I bet they didn't tell the guy about the finger incident before they covered him.
No. But I bet you they got every piece of metal off his body before that. They were like, remember what happens. They probably have a sign that says, remember Jan Stevens. So that they take all the metal shit off of people before they put them. I mean, that's crazy, dude.
Wow.
No, I think the wrong type of plaster is used.
Mm.
But yeah, so that's the thing. So I think Jan started this sculpture, and then due to the accident, went off the production. She didn't come back to ESB after this had happened.
Yeah.
She came back to sculpting later. But I think because of this incident, there was a lot of credit given, and she was the lead sculptor on the production up until that point. Roy did go on to say that this was his first major production, and he was only took on a part-time basis at the beginning until this happened, and then it became a full-time thing.
It's pretty amazing
So
that he did the medical droid too.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. That's really cool.
It makes sense now, though, why they would, out of respect, accredit her to the sculpt for what had taken place.
Especially when Roy was a part-time guy and this was his first production.
Yeah.
I mean, after this, he went on to work for 18 years in movies, and his last movie was Prometheus.
Oh,
He
nice.
was on Alien 3. He was on the Tomb Raider movies, Harry Potter's. So he's done a lot of stuff. All that can be seen in a couple of weeks when we put the whole video out.
Oh, cool.
But it's that was a revelation to me, as it was with you guys then when you just heard it.
That's crazy.
Man, I was trying to figure out what story could there possibly be that would be this interesting.
That's
well, this
nuts.
did it. This did it for sure. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
that's shocking. So
What were they casting her hand again for?
C-3PO.
C-3PO, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So did that not work out then? Is her hand not C-3PO's? Like,
no,
because it didn't work, right? So they had to get someone else.
Just his ring finger. That's all.
Yeah, just the ring finger.
Roy
I bet you every
ended
time she sees 3PO, she's like, damn you.
Yeah, exactly.
Roy
Like
said he
Newman.
ended up having his hand cast for the
Roy did.
Yeah, for the 3PO
Oh shit.
thing, so they could sculpt on that.
I wonder
That's interesting.
if as a Star Trek fan, if he actually cares. If he cares that he's like, who's that guy that has my hand? Who's that the robot?
Goldenrod.
Yeah, 3R2 What is that? No, yeah, that's pretty amazing though, man. That's a killer story. Wow.
It's interesting.
So-
Yeah, very interesting.
How about this, Jason? I think you're going to really appreciate this. When Brian talks about sculpting the Vader, he talks about being given one or two tiny little pictures, like drawings, to work off. Roy said on that 2-1B that he was given next to nothing to work off.
Yeah.
Yet we have that Macquarie concept picture.
Yeah.
So then you start to think, well, was that held back from him for a reason, or was it drawn afterwards? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, yeah, because McQuarrie did do a lot of imagery during like pre and post. So after things were sculpted, or if they were doing principal photography, he did a lot of studies, a lot of sketches during those processes, that's interesting. That's there's so much that just keeps being unearthed each day. Even now we're 45 years in. It's amazing.
I know. I think coming away from it and watching it back, I was like, well, wait a second. And then I'm researching that. So now I came away from speaking to Roy probably with more questions than we got answers for. So who knows?
I agree.
I'd like to try and meet with him again.
Really cool.
Well, yeah, maybe someday when you make the medical droid, you can have that conversation.
I love that they were like, for Chris, they were like, yo, we need you to shave your entire body. He's like, nah, I would never do that. Here's $100. Okay, cool. like when do I start? You want me to do it? I'll do it. No problem. No worries. Dude, that's funny, man.
That was 100 pounds. That was 100 pounds.
100 pounds.
And that was 35 years ago.
Well, and think about it. Like, think about how they did stuff back then. Like,
that wasn't like a Mach 3. That was like a one blade plastic, right? You know?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like the random, like they find this guy and they're like, yeah, we'll pay 100 pounds to freaking sculpt onto your body or whatever, and like it's just crazy the way they piece all this stuff together. It's nuts.
So Chris was sent up there by his casting agent to have that done. But I mean, it was a similar thing with. I mean, Chris was an extra in this. He was an extra in A&H, ESB, and Return of the Jedi, plus a load of other films.
Yeah. And
I think this is how it worked. I mean, Alan Harris was an extra.
Yeah, right.
And they sent him up there to be cast for the Hanning Carbonite thing.
Crazy.
Very cool. Well, I've got some pictures also, Rob, so I'm going to go ahead and share those, and you can talk about what we're looking at. All right, here we go. So I think the last time we showed this, we didn't have the. Well, I'm not sure exactly what we showed last time.
Yeah, I don't think these are new. It's just a bit of a refresher.
Okay.
Obviously, now we've got the plaque. I was going to be organised and bring the whole thing home with me and have it here tonight, but I left, and then a couple of hours later realised that I'd not brought it. But it's not changed any.
Looks
So what's so can you share with anybody yet how the discs are attached?
The discs have not been changed, obviously, in this image, but they are having those little indents put in there. And they're going to be magnetized, so they'll come on and off without damaging it, and you can choose how you want to display it. Probably with the discs on, to be honest. But
the magnets embedded in the sculpt, or how is that done?
Yes, they'll be in the. They'll be inside of the piece because it's going to be obviously all sealed underneath.
Very cool.
Held captive.
Okay. And the base itself, is this what the final base is going to look like?
Yeah, it's a black stained wood that we're going to use, and it's going to be lacquered. And that's all CNC manufactured.
Nice museum look. Yeah, I like that.
It's big. The base ended up quite large in the end. We started off with one a lot smaller, and it just didn't look right. So
I was wondering about the size of the base. Okay, all right, very good. And you could see the fingerprints all over this thing, the impressions of the fingers, huh? That's the thing I think I like the most about it is it looks like sculpted clay.
Yeah, they're subtle, but the light picks them out.
Oh yeah, you can definitely
more so when it's in front of you, I think.
Steve, I don't know if this base is going to fit in your billy. It could be wrong, but yeah, we'll have to see.
This is a problem. Yep. We have to figure something out.
A constant problem.
Yeah, but looking really good.
Yeah,
and you can see from underneath that this is, it's not an actual helmet. It's all closed off. Rob, is this hollow on the inside, or what's
yes.
okay?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Right. And then, what a great profile. And then here's the plaque. Looking good.
I tell you, Roy had a tough time there, huh? Like Roy, steady, Roy.
So I'm not sure what age Roy is, but I think we're over the 80 years mark.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool.
I know Chris was in his 70s.
Okay.
But I think in his mind he's still 18. Like most of us, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then so yes, that's really cool. 2 signatures with this. Really appreciate both the RS and the Rogue 16 logo on the same plaque. It's such a great feeling to be part of this. And then this is all you guys together. Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I must admit it's a big thanks to Brian Muir for setting this up, and I guess talking to Roy on behalf of us and you guys as well.
Yeah, so cool.
to make this happen.
And Rob is there representing, wearing the Rogue 16 shirt.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic.
You look comfortable, Rob. You look very comfortable in that shirt.
Yeah. I'm breathing in there.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
okay.
right? Oh, that's funny.
Understandable. What did Rob? What did Brian Muir think of this thing?
Yeah, he was interested. He liked it.
Interesting.
The most fun part of the whole day and the visit was we arrived there and we'd not set anything up. We got out the van. We'd been traveling a couple of hours. We went in the kitchen. They were all Brian and Lindsay were there, and Roy and his wife. And we were just sat in the kitchen having a cup of tea and just listening to Roy and Brian talking shop. Yeah. From the years that they spent together. And their friendship and the way they interact was the most special thing.
That's so cool.
impossible to catch on camera, but it was so special to
that's really
just to see them talking.
It's amazing, you know, when you think about it. At the time, they had no idea what this was going to lead to at the time, and now here they are, 40 some odd years later, and it's still a common thread that they bonded over, that is really shaped in some way shaped the rest of their lives, right? This is something that they've talked about forever, and it's amazing. It's amazing how something as simple as this crazy science fiction movie, right, or science fantasy movie back then, is turned into a lifelong thing for them.
Yeah, and it's also taken them to many multiples of other movies and crazy things, right? Like a lot of these people started with Star Wars, and then it went from there to doing a bunch of crazy stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's good. I think now for the people who are really interested in the history of how the movies were made, this is our last chance to learn what we can learn from them, because they're just not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to take that for granted. And it was such a privilege to go and to meet Roy and see him chatting with Brian like that. So candidly, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Very cool. So there's some questions over here. Let's see if we can answer those. Chris Lord asks, can you say who held on to this sculpt for all these years?
No, I've spoke to the guys where we got it from, and they're not overly keen that we mention them. But obviously you guys know, because I wanted you to know the credibility behind it. But it's from obviously a prop maker from years gone by.
Very cool.
We don't think the mold that we got was made even by somebody on the production. We think it was hanging around in the studio, and somebody has thought, you know, I want to get a copy of this. And that's how we think the mold was actually made.
Widow Van Beek says he wants one. Well, if you want one, make sure you're a member of the Rogue 16 group on Facebook, and we're in waitlist territory now. I think we're getting close to 10th person on the waitlist. So see if everybody follows through, and whoever doesn't, we'll start filling from the waitlist. Rob, are you, before we move on to any more questions, are you ready to announce the price? Talk about, are you ready to announce the price yet, or where are we at with that?
Yeah, we can do. I think we're pretty much ready to go. I think we've got some technicalities on the way we want to work that, and how we're going to set that up. But yeah, we've got something ready to go. We've got a price finalized now. Okay. Do you want me to announce that?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I hate talking about money. This is vulgar. I should have got Andrea to do this bit.
Well, we can have if I can handle all the vulgarities. I'm really good at vulgarness. So no, go ahead, Rob. If you feel comfortable, otherwise we can.
So yeah, so the final piece is going to be $750. That's pounds. Mm-hmm. And
okay.
We're all up and running with this. We're making the castings. The bases are ordered. Obviously, the plaques are all done and signed, and in a very safe place. And the acrylic pole is ordered as well.
And how much is the deposit going to be?
I'm not too sure. I think we're working something out with the EU guys to make importing and exporting this to the EU a little easier with a separate invoice and stuff. So we're working on the details. We'll sort all that out through the emails. I think if we can get a list of emails and locations of people, that'll make things a lot easier.
Okay. All right. Very good. Any other detail? Oh, so we will. We're not ready to put it up for order just yet, but I think the pre-order is going to be very soon here. We need to iron out some details on how this is all going to work, so that we can make sure that only people who signed up on the Facebook group, who are members of our group and signed up, can actually do it. So we got to work out those mechanics. But
there's that, and then
I would
there's
suspect in the next couple of weeks.
there's a way that Andrea would like to try and work it to help.
Yeah, ultimately,
the way that she handles the data and stuff. So
right, whatever makes this easiest for Andrea is of paramount importance here. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're good to go sooner rather than later on this, really.
Very cool. And then
they're probably going to go out in waves, and ideally, I would like to be looking at having this all wrapped up before Christmas. So
fantastic!
Wow. That's
the sort of time frame we're looking at.
David Ashby's asking, how will the numbering be assigned in the order of the interest list, or what? Interesting
question. I would say, I don't want to speak for Rob, but I would say that that's something we would want to shoot for. We're just going to make sure that it's actually possible to. We have to, because basically what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to get a list of people's names to Andrea. I'll have it in order of the way people signed it up, and then Andrea's got to be able to match that to the orders that come in through the page.
Yeah.
So that linking of the people on Facebook with the orders are probably going to come in through an email address, whereas people on Facebook are going to be names. And so that we got to make sure that works, right? Yeah, we made it a little bit more because we've never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. But
and I think Simon's getting number one, isn't he?
Yeah, Simon always gets actually. Actually, we're not getting number one, right? We're going the AP route. So
yeah. Well, which is good because we're not taking from the actual numbers. We
don't want to. We kind of talked a little bit about that. We didn't want to interfere with people's numbers and all that. Yeah. So that's important. All right, let's see. Keep going up here. How can I make an order? As Glenn just so the interest list is full at this point. There is a wait list. You need to be a member of Rogue 16, the Facebook group, and then when you're on that group, look for the post for this, and then say that you're interested, and I'll add you to the wait list. Now that the price is out, I would expect a certain number of orders to drop off. Now that people understand how much it's going to cost and all that, and then we'll start putting people in from the wait list into the main list. Let's see.
As we originally talked about, we were looking at a lower number. That swelled a little bit, but we're trying to keep the numbers down because it's a special piece. It's going to take X amount of time to make. That we don't want to assign too much of the team off to make this when we've got other things that we need to be making. And we wanted to keep it quite as low as possible, but everyone who wanted to have the opportunity to get one. So
yeah, if you think about it,
it is strictly limited, and it won't be happening again. This is it. This is the run. It's a special thing for a special group.
Yeah, when you told us about it originally, I was like, "What? Really? You're going to do that for our group? Man, that's awesome." Originally, I think we had around 50, and we had a bunch of people on the wait list. And what we decided was, okay, let's go ahead and convert everybody who's on the wait list right now to be an order. So we've already grown the size of the run. And we can't keep doing that indefinitely, right? So we grew it once.
The plaques are made now, so.
And that was it. We had to decide, okay, how many plaques we're going to order and all that. Okay, here's our number. We'll convert everybody the number. Everybody after this is on the wait list. So that's where we went on that. Let's see. So let's see. I think there was another question. Can you? Okay, so we talked about this. Can you say who had the sculpt after all these years? We talked about that. How will this be? Colin asks about shipping. He's afraid of breakage with thin edges below. So that's a good question, Rob. This is a different material than they say ABS or something, right?
Yeah. So this is fiberglass. The edges are not that thin. It's the way we've made it makes it look. The bit that we've added to make it whole underneath, it may look thin right on the edge, but it's not actually that thin. I'm very confident these will ship no problem.
Okay.
We will expert package them and
look
at what we need to do.
Would you be willing to trade one of these helmets if somebody came in and let you shave their body and sculpt them and cast their bodies?
That would depend on who it is.
It's a pretty fair deal. Pretty good deal. Do you know, Rob, are we going to be getting these? Like, are you going to be able to send these to us before so that we can see how they ship? You know what I mean? Like,
we can work. We can work.
That might help to know if there's going to be any like problems with shipping. Better us than everyone else to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we can work some out. I'm quite confident that they will ship nice. We'll pack them real well. Sure. The base will probably ship in a separate box.
Mm-hmm.
Chris was asking if Roy sculpted only one of these. I think Roy's asking about the original concept. I think there was only one, right? He didn't say he sculpted more than one. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So just to be clear, Jan started this. We don't know exactly how far she got, but we know that Roy finished it due to the accident. So
there's a common conversation about joining the Facebook group. Just a quick question. When people apply to join the group, there's a few questions that are asked about following rules and agreeing not to be a dick and all that. If you don't answer the questions, we don't let you in. So make sure you look at the questions and you scroll and answer those questions, and then we'll let you in.
Which, by the way, that's a lot of Facebook groups do that. Like, if you don't answer the questions, they don't put you in because it's like an easy way to find out if people are a-holes or not. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, very good. So I think that covers all the questions. Any last things we want to talk about before we wrap this up, guys?
No, I mean, thanks, Rob, for making this happen.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Appreciate your hard work.
To be honest, this part of it just was a shock to us. We never planned on this happening. We thought we were embarking on a Snowtrooper Commander helmet, and this was the result. And the minute we looked at it, we were like, "This is something really special. This is different." So yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is one of the pieces that I think we will be remembered for when we've hung up the resin pots and turned the back machine off for good. This will be one of those pieces that will just live forever, I think.
Yeah.
Well, even how it all fell into place, some of the information that was passed about in, the books and what we've read about Jan, and even going into this, Rob, us sort of trying to figure out and find Jan at first, not knowing that she had passed on. There was a lot that led to this, this end result here, which the story in and of itself is unique and interesting, and just adds more history to the piece and gives it more depth overall.
Yeah. It's so sad that she has passed on. And young as well. She was in her 40s when she died.
Oh, crazy!
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, that's not what people want to hear, or we would like to hear her story and hear from her about all the other productions that she did, because she was on some big movies.
Yeah.
big cult movies that we're all fans of. So
Especially as a side piece to Harryhausen. I mean, he did a lot of his that got a lot of these guys into the original, Tippett and Murin and Berg. So yeah, it's amazing. This is another interesting piece of Star Wars history, and I think that it all going hand in hand just makes it that much more special. So really happy
I
to be
think
part
so.
of this.
Yeah, I think so. Just finding out more about it while we've got the opportunity.
Yeah, especially where we're so
that's the key to
happenstance.
it.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Well,
One quick question, Steve.
Yeah.
Rob, when you look at it in the pictures, like in daylight, it kind of looks like a grayish, but then when you look at it against some of the white, it looks a little bit like a tan or a brown. Does it kind of shift a color a little bit when you bring it out?
With the lighting,
Yeah.
I think it's one of the it's a gray that's more towards the brown spectrum, the blue, shall we say.
That makes sense.
I think we need to stop and ask this question. Very well stated. If I spend all my money on this, will I miss out on any other potential RS releases in the next month or so?
I wouldn't say so. I don't think there's anything huge coming along.
That's good.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, on that note, thank you for once again, Rob, for having us be part of this. This is amazing. It's amazing to be part of this, and that you made it an exclusive to our group is just can't thank you enough for that.
Well, I think there's also a synergy that's going on there with a very special piece and special collectors that can appreciate it. So
thank you.
Right.
I think that's a really nice way of saying there's people out there who won't know what this is, won't appreciate it, and not to be snobbish, don't really deserve it because they don't really fully understand what it is. So
right.
Without us educating them, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's definitely perfectly suited to the people
So
in our group.
this was something that we thought.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody once again. And if I can find this video, I will press it. Bye-bye.